Live election night. Decision 2023. Totally important election year. Live from Washington State. It's Inane Blather.
Pew, 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 pew.
With your hosts,
psychotic, deranged, cultist liars.
And if you disagree,
also known as
that's because
leftists.
you're an honorless, lying little turd.
That's right.
You're ugly. You're disgusting. I'm going to kill you.
Okay. Anyway, it's Inane Blather. Your home for unresearched, unintelligent, unfunny, political psychobabble blathered on by a bunch of people who would only feel at home amongst hordes of
headstrong, stubborn, quibbling, self-centered, vindictive, obnoxious, hormonal, sexually preoccupied, evil, thieving, cross-dressing jerks.
Your home for the
Hordes.
best intros in the business. Da-na-na, da-na-na.
Not good.
Anyway,
you know what's funny? What do you think
your wiener.
A herd of elephants, a murder of crows, obviously, a school of fish. What do you think a group of people is called?
A clan.
I guess it depends on what kind of groups you're with, but no, that's a good guess, I guess, from like early
horde.
humans. But yeah, that's what made me think of it. But we were talking about this. Me and my friends and one of my partners said a party, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I like that as a group of people." And then a little while later, one of our friends was like, "Oh yeah, that is what we are. That's what they call us at restaurants. It's like a party of four." I'm like, "Oh,
Like
that's
that, I
interesting."
get it's like that TV show Party of Five.
No,
That's where that comes from.
but I do like to think that a group of people is called a party. I think that's pretty great.
Well,
'Cause people are
I
fun.
don't, because it's forever tainted by politics. And
Oh, I didn't even think of that. I don't care
party.
a shit about.
Yep, the party.
No, party is
No,
like
we're part of a wing.
like pow, 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 pow,
Yeah.
party,
Awesome.
party.
Yeah, exactly. Nope, that's not what I was looking for.
That's also a group of people, though.
Shut the hell up, bitch.
There we go. That's what it was.
Well, I think you said if you want to start it out with this election night, we're going to start out with my
No.
good news
No.
first.
So forget
Yes.
about it, cuz.
I know it's going to get you every time.
I know someone just said that they were listening and they're like, "Oh man, your brother got you so good. What was it?" And then it was that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It was unexpected. It's one of my favorites. Yeah. It's cringe.
I said
AF.
forget about it, cuh. But
That's Paul Driver. Yeah.
yeah. They should they should
on
rename
Cinema
him
Heads.
posthumously to Paul Driver or Paul Turbo or something, you know. Now it doesn't matter. He's dead. You can change his name.
I don't think that's how that works. Yeah, we're going to start out on a high note, and we'll see where it goes from there. Speaking of
Nowhere to
elections,
go but down.
it is, actually, I'll say it. It's November 7th today. There were some pretty crucial votes going on today, and you know what?
Yeah,
it
we
goes
had a
to
mayoral race here in my hometown.
Yeah, no one gives a
That's
shit.
the
Doug.
most
But no-
important one that I could see.
Yeah, we had some of my friends were running for positions here in the city that I live in. I was
Awesome.
very glad to vote for them. But big vote in the nation in Ohio. They had two big items that they were voting on. Not sure if you heard. Okay, legalization of marijuana. There we go. Ohioans did it.
Vote no.
No. No, they voted yes.
They already
and
did. Okay.
They already did. And the thing
I guess
that
it is past
they've already
midnight
called
over
this.
there.
Yes, they've already called this. They enshrined the right to abortions in their state constitution.
Wow.
Like it passed by a pretty significant margin.
Yeah.
Uh,
As it should. Because that's what people
exactly.
want.
Exactly. It goes to show, I just went off on a rant on this the other day about how Americans are actually kind of fucking cool. Like people
Okay, Natalie.
These things are not as divisive as you think. When people come out to vote directly on these issues, we support reproductive rights. We support reasonable gun control. We support the legalization of marijuana. We do those things by votes directly from the American people. We are so incredibly not represented by our representatives.
That's the
at all.
problem. And that's what gets people to not vote, is because so much of our voting system is the so-called representative democracy.
If it can so be called.
Exactly. But and that's why in little Twitter arguments, I mean, I totally get it. I totally get the not wanting to vote thing. But my whole thing is always, especially if someone's like, what, I vote for the do-nothing Democrat or some fascist. It's like, do you not have a single referendum? I bet you do. I bet you've got a referendum on your ballot. And just using that. Ballot initiatives, referendums,
levies.
These things exist. It's the only form of direct democracy that you have in your state. It doesn't happen on a federal level, and that's a huge problem. But it's like, hey, that's how things get done. That's how we legalized cannabis 11 years ago, and it's how we passed, how we banned assault weapons, and assault-style weapons for anyone under 21, I think, or just purchasing firearms. I don't even know what it is. Yeah,
we
in
banned
Washington
the
State,
sale
that was
of
a couple
assault
years
weapons.
ago. Yeah.
We banned the sale of assault weapons, banned high-capacity magazines. And you know what? That's what I've been talking about, what Amnesty does. These groups, these nonprofit organizations, advocacy groups, they're all working state-by-state levels to get things on your motherfucking ballots. So you better at least vote for those referendums and things. You don't have to... You can have an incomplete ballot and whatever, You don't have to vote for all of these people. You can just vote for the things you care about.
You're already there filling out your ballot. You just write in Bert and Ernie or whatever.
I always kind of forget that other states have to go somewhere.
That's
we just do
the
all
issue.
of ours by mail-in.
Exactly.
It's so easy.
That's the issue, is that I can't imagine waiting in line, or getting time off of work or something like that. Even if it's after if it was today for me and I had to go vote, I wouldn't have voted. I have my kid. I got to get my kid after I get out of work. It's already dark. I've got to make dinner and then just got to go to bed. When am I going to fucking vote? And it's like, if only that could be a direct, referendum or vote to enable vote by mail for every single fucking state and every election in this country, because everyone who has it loves it.
Vote.
Even the people who complain about it, being, their stupid conspiracy theories and completely unfounded, moronic, blah 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 blah.
It's very cringe.
They still use it to vote. That's how it is over here. It's swaths of Republicans where I live. It's all red. Our home county, where we're from, is 77% Trump or some shit like that in 2020.
Yeah, not Republican, just Trump.
Yeah, exactly. Just idiots, people who rely on anyone that's not like Trump to enable their way of life to continue out in the agricultural
farmers
sectors.
The most subsidized industry in America.
Exactly. Full of immigrant labor. But anyway, it's they still vote, these by mail. I mean, that's just a whole thing. Voter disenfranchisement is just in addition, purposeful disenfranchisement through these rules, through basic stuff like not having it be a holiday, all that stuff, because that's not enough. That will just increase turnout maybe, but now it's a holiday, so some people get the day off, and then some of those people will vote when they wouldn't have. I don't get that.
I guess just why do you have to do it the same as it was 200 years ago? What else do we do that way? Why?
It's just, that's a lie that just people believe.
But why would it have to be why would you have to go in person and do it? There's like all kinds of things you can respond. I talked to someone
I
at a
don't know.
door once that was like, make sure that your signature matches the
Yeah.
one that's on your driver's license, because they will throw it out if it doesn't. They threw out.
No, they'll
she
send
said
it back.
Her boyfriend.
That happened to me. I had to sign an affidavit and do all this stuff and get my signature changed. It happened with one of my ballots. And I mean, I'm sure, who knows what it would be like in some sort of close race or whatever, because you don't get it back for like a month and a half. But,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, it happened to me, and people are like, well, what is... I mean, this whole voting fraud crusade is so inane.
It's fucking stupid.
Yeah, it's like...
It's so fucking
anyone
stupid
who
because you know
listens to
what?
this
It's like
is already on board with us here.
if you think that voting, people are going to commit so much voter fraud, it's going to change the outcome of an election, whatever. I hope you know that it's like, it's not voters that are like in charge of any of this, besides these referendums and stuff. It's like, we can vote and you can have whoever you want in power or whatever. You can get someone elected. But the people with money that are actually trying to change these elections, they don't have to even care about that. They don't care who's in power really necessarily. They
Yeah.
have like their ways about doing it, and they do it right in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
There is no conspiracy. They're just like doing it. And it's like this distraction over here. Oh, blah, 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 blah. It's like, wait. You're worried about us voting because you want us to be represented, right? You want our votes to like be representative of what we want, right? So then why are like all these senators with like a 10% approval rate and like doing all these things that we just really, really, really disagree with? Like literally these abortion laws, man, I was on a tirade about it yesterday. Like how the fuck can they put laws into place that kill us? That directly, that they do. It does. It will, and it is. And that is always 100% of the time what happens with anti-abortion laws. Women, girls, people with uteruses, they do die because they can't get an abortion. That's
Yeah.
what happens. And they put that law into place. It was not there from 100 years ago. We already had some protections. They put a law into place that will, with 100% certainty, kill people that would otherwise not have died if that law was not in place. And they put that there.
And
How
you're
is that
right
okay?
to use that as, I mean, not to be cynical, but like, but let me be cynical for a sec. No, you're right to use that in particular as like the example or wedge issue that can get, I mean, who fucking cares about conservative redacteds? Like, I mean, young people and people to the left of liberals, it's hard to get them to vote for so many different reasons. But the abortion issue is so clear where it's like, that's a good go-to as well, where it's like, well, this voting doesn't matter. No one represents my interests and stuff. It's like, that's a number one go-to, like, voting changes. I mean, in your state, fuck the federal stuff. Like, not saying like, well, you got to vote for president, so the president elects appoints the right Supreme Court judges. It's like, because, Biden was president and fucking Roe versus Wade got overturned because of the president before him. Who cares? This indirect bullshit. But yeah, like the abortion issue, it's so clear, and it should get leftists, people who are cynical about it, who don't have anyone that represents them. Like, I'm joking around about like the mayoral race here. I hate both of these guys, and I know one of them personally. The one that I know personally that I don't like, I voted for. It's like, but
Lesser of two evils.
and there's only one person that listens to the show that also knows that, and I'm not going to let her know who I voted for. No, I'm just kidding. But
Say it with the chest.
no, but the abortion issue, it's like, it's just so clear, and it's like, it's just, even if it's one thing that works with you participating in this so-called democracy, if it can so be called, as you mouthed it. Even if that's the one issue, isn't that enough of an issue for you to do it? Like, I get it if you're not in Washington or Oregon and you have to go in person. Like, it's crazy, and I'm totally with you on that. But it's like, it is something where you cannot deny that people getting out and voting for this will make a difference, you know?
Ohio
Abortion.
just enshrined it in their state fucking constitution.
Yes.
That's what's possible with voting. That is what's possible. This is like, and that's like what Amnesty's been working on in all 50 states, like enshrining it as an inalienable right. It's bodily autonomy. Like, that's what happens with voting. You know what happens if people don't
That's
fucking
what can
vote?
happen with voting. And
Well,
it's like, and that people have to know
anything-
that. People don't believe that can happen is the problem.
But things that have been passed have been because of voting, not just
Yeah.
because of legislators like passing some cool legislation
Yeah,
every
'cause they
once in a
don't do
while or
anything.
whatever. They barely do anything. But there are things that are
And
happening.
just look at Palestine.
Remember, like,
They don't represent our interests, obviously. Just in general.
yeah,
On the federal
for sure.
level.
It's making me so mad at these representatives and the media for sure. But these representatives with their stupid bullshit fighting that is like so much of it, a lot of it, you know, they talk about like behind the scenes, everyone's kind of like friendly or whatever. It can be like that. But then they can be like really, really like fucking rude and like
Yeah.
bombastic and stuff like in front of the
performative it
camera.
is.
Yeah. And like they make us look
Great
so
again.
bad.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They make us just look like really not who we are. Like, we are Americans, really are so much of us. When it gets down to it, we do agree on a lot of these things. We care about other people, and it's these representatives,
Yeah.
if they can so be called, you know,
Because,
like
because they're all, I mean, not all, but almost exclusively of the ruling class. I mean, it's like, yeah, and you can look at...
I hate them.
I mean, it's against your own interests because so many of these people are of the owning class and yada yada. That's why they can get elected, not represent your interests, and stay in power, because that's how capitalism works, and it becomes ingrained into the political... I mean, you know, it's not just economics. It becomes part of the political infrastructure and all that. But, I mean, hey, doesn't matter. Don't vote for him. I don't care. Like, and we can talk shit about you if you were in Michigan and you didn't vote for the Democrat and the Republican more quickly took away rights for trans people when Trump wins or whatever. Whatever, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But there are referendums. There are examples of somewhat direct democracy.
especially if it's local. You better be fucking voting in your local elections. I swear to God.
Yeah.
That's the very least you can do. That is the very least. That is
It's like
directly
there
affecting
could be
your
a fucking
communities.
Holocaust
Yeah.
denier running for a school board position where you live. Like, that happens, you know?
That's in your community that you can have an effect. You can meet that person.
Yeah,
You can go to
sure.
these town halls and stuff like that. Those are things you can have an impact on a smaller scale. And it does make a difference to vote in your local elections. These levies that come up onto ballots and stuff, a lot of times it's because of apathy that stuff doesn't get passed that would get passed if people just gave a little bit more of a shit to do 5 fucking minutes of research
Yeah.
to help your local these people you
One of the few things
your
on
kids
the,
go to school with,
the ballot
school teachers, people you
here
know
is like
that would
the
help them.
increased police funding and stuff like that I voted against. I'm sure there's other
Voted against it, huh?
liberal other liberal things where it's like to increase community safety and stuff. It's like, no, this is just increased funding for police departments. Yeah, it's like, no, I'm not gonna vote for that. I don't care. It's like, and I vote for tax increases half the time.
Me too.
It's
I
like,
do.
and
I
they
usually do.
absolutely kill me. because Washington sucks for that. I don't make very much money, and I still get taxed to shit. But anyway,
It's incredibly expensive here. Oh my God, it's so incredibly expensive here.
and I live in the cheap part of the state. But yeah, I mean, owning a home and all that, like, it affects you directly. But besides, I don't know how many other states, if it's like that, where often, any tax legislation that goes through that passes both houses of Congress at a state level still goes back to the voters after that session. That's how it happens in Washington. You decide whether to repeal it or keep it. And all that stuff can be, boring. But I mean, it can
confusing.
affect you for sure, Yeah, and
I would say-
purposefully confusing.
100%. If you have mail-in ballots, if you're in Washington State and you don't vote, that's a big time shame on you, honestly. Like, if you don't vote for some of these local things, school board people, because, like, legit, some of these people wanting to run for school boards, like, if you really care about anything, care about children, and you should care about people not being, like, anti-CRT and all this
Yeah.
bullshit, like, trying to get that type of crap into schools, like, that.
Yeah, if you're
God.
anti-CRT like us, then,
Yeah, no, I'm like trying to get more
I
God
don't
into schools
like
or whatever.
those monitors. They are old. They're heavy. They're filled with probably like heavy metals and stuff.
I think we're talking about different CRTs.
Yeah, no, I'm pro LED. Because we need to lead.
No.
And LED spells lead, not CRT, which is cathode ray tube, aka critical race theory. So,
We all know it. You don't have to condescend to me, Doug.
and when you drop them down the stairs, they sound like this. I was going to say earlier, and I mean, back to, it's just more fun, just junk food politically, like people's problems with mail-in voting. It's so stupid. But I mean, it's so much easier. Like, you got to take Occam's razor with so many things, and it so often works with a capitalist economy society that we live in. Just to say whatever's going to be easier. I mean, hey, that's what everything goes by, right? Whatever the market dictates, whatever will make people the most money or gain people the most power with the least amount of effort. So it's like, voter fraud is so inefficient.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm like,
inept and stuff. It's like election fraud is way more doable, and it happens. Like, that's why, I mean, it's much easier not to get a bunch of fake votes for something. It's easier to just keep people from voting. Like, if voting
it's like the
didn't make a
people-
difference, it wouldn't be so hard for people to do in so many places.
yeah, I feel like the ones who are always being the problem are like the people running for office,
Yeah.
or the
Oh,
people
yeah.
that are already in power,
Election
or like
fraud.
the people that, like people like, that's what I mean. Like corporations and stuff, though,
Big
it doesn't really matter
donors.
to them. Like, but they're just going to get their way regardless of how we vote.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
because-
I feel like it's all just like an issue to just keep us, another issue to just keep us divided and talking about like, the sanctity of it's like half of Americans vote. Half of like voters vote. It's like
Yeah.
not even, it's like so pathetic, our turnout. It's like, whatever. Though some of it, obviously, it's coming from a place of Washington where we do mail-in ballots. It is so incredibly easy to vote here. It's
and
so
we still
nice.
only get
It
like
is-
60%
I know.
turnout or something.
It's really easy. I really do feel for these places, like, and especially places like in Georgia where it has been specifically made harder
Sure.
for people of color. You're standing in line for 6 fucking hours to cast a vote. Give me a break.
yeah, you're not
Oh my
allowed to
God. For
give
these
people water.
And for these like dumb losers, if you're voting for a person, I'm going to stand in line for 6 hours to vote for one of these morons. I don't think
Yeah.
so. But these other issues, they really, 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 really do matter. Local issues really matter.
Yeah.
That's what we'll give a shout out to. Stand in line for 6 hours to vote on whatever
Abortion
kind of thing you got
rights
going in your
state.
Though of course, that's hugely, hugely important. Statewide
or
issues.
to expand future voting rights for people. And I mean,
What I think?
look at Florida, man, and it's like,
No.
yeah, the fact that
You can't make me.
once things like the most backwards ass piece of shit state around right now, you know, just a totally red state at this point, full of psychotic, deranged cultist liars like Ron DeSantis and Scott, or what's his name? Was it Rick Scott? Right?
That alien?
Yeah, whatever
That
his name
freak?
is. What's his name?
Yeah, Rick Scott.
Some made up name. I'm a human being.
Yeah, his
I'm
eyelids
not a
blink like
lizard.
horizontal,
Yeah.
or I mean,
Vertical
vertically.
eyelid
Yeah.
blinking. No, but how it's like, then they put things to the voters, and oh gee whiz, they pass a $15 minimum wage. They re-enfranchise
In-state
felons, and even that was so. It's like it's obvious that is better for the public to have more people voting, because then the people in power and these Republicans immediately tried to make sure that it didn't happen. Like, they just went against the will of the people out in public and said, no, you're not just going to be able to vote again after you served your time. It's like, oh, you're onto something, you know? It's like so many different examples. You know, a journalist starts getting threats, it means they're onto something. You know, if you start getting turned down by those in power who have been treating you like shit as the working class, if you start getting vehemently opposed by the owning class, then you're doing the right thing.
You're on to something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Otherwise, they would not give a shit about you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And another part of it, obviously, is the motherfucking media. Like,
Ugh.
where, you know,
Head-bonked
of course, like,
individuals.
yes.
head-bonked individuals, like, such as in Iraq, and such as those in South Africa, and such as...
You little poopy
Remember that?
bitch.
Yeah.
That's a reference.
Yes. Yo, that's a reference.
so-
That's you're
Deep
just
cut.
being misogynist now, I guess. But, you know.
She's just really, it's just an example of like, why are you talking to this person about international politics? This is like a beauty contest,
Oh, that was
but
such
whatever.
a great last week tonight. That was years ago about beauty pageants.
That was probably one of my
really good.
my first ones.
Yeah.
That I was in college, or you know, I was a women and gender studies minor in college, and so they're talking about like third wave feminism and all this kind of crap and stuff. So I was like, oh,
Sounds like you're
cool.
pretty
Anyways,
into this, buddy.
Yeah. Anyways, Fox News said, you know, one of these articles about this abortion vote is like this controversial bill. You know, it goes too far. So looking at, it was called, you know, this race has already been called by the AP.
Is it controversial?
Exactly. 57% voted yes in favor of, you know, so it passed. 42% voted no. Is that controversial?
Yeah.
If like almost
if that was a
what's
presidential election, that's a landslide.
a landslide victory. Like, I just, the way that it's framed, it's the people who are talking about it, you know, obviously these representatives, and then the media, like really, really inflaming these things. We really need to be focused on the fact that this is a landslide, and this is what happens 100% of the time when we vote on reproductive rights, even in places like Kansas.
Yeah, true.
Always support reproductive rights when it's put directly out to the voters. So why do we think this is controversial?
I mean, people can be propagandized. It doesn't always work the will of the people can sometimes be stupid. But, I mean, look at Proposition 8 in California all those years ago or something, where they reversed legalized gay marriage or something.
that was you know, before.
But there were so many
real
shenanigans
big
with
internet
it anyway,
times.
because it was all
There's-
about you got to do what you can to fearmonger, propagandize, disenfranchise, do it in a way that confuses people, that isn't a normal
Propagandize,
year, and then it's like,
disenfranchise.
then suddenly the non-progressive thing wins out, and it's like, and how long did that stand? I mean, it's California, you know? It's like, I mean...
San Francisco
even
is there,
when
so.
it seems like it's the will of the people, if it's not progressive, often it isn't really. Like, and it's not just, it's like,
It won't
we're
be
just
for long
always right,
anyways.
okay? We're just always right. Progress is progress.
And the American people are actually kind of fucking cool. And you know,
Yeah,
that's the thing too. No, you know what?
Nah.
People
The
talk
Constitution
about
can
all
suck
these
me from the back.
I'm not talking about the Constitution. I am not talking about the American government. I'm not talking about our governmental system. I'm talking about the human beings that are citizens or non-citizens, people who just live here. American people are pretty fucking cool. You know, what
We're
Tucker
the most
Carlson, all
diverse
these
country on the face of the earth.
white supremacist motherfuckers saying diversity is not a strength. Look at these homogenous cultures. Look at all the problems they don't have. Whatever. You know what? We really agree on a lot. America is amazing when you really look at what we do all together. And we're all just humans. We do want to get along. When given the opportunity, we do extend rights to other people. We do give a shit. You know, that's what I feel like okay, it's 2023.
Oh,
We can do some really,
You're right.
really good polling nowadays. They can do some really good polling out there, like asking what the American people approve of and really getting it, you can have like unbiased research done on what people want. And you know what? I think that because of how quickly we can get answers, it's like the digital age, we have phones, we have all of this, like all of these ways to stay connected, to get information out to people, to get people's opinions and perspectives and all this kind of crap. Why don't we get to use that more than like just the way we vote kind of fucking sucks? I feel like there should be more polls on the American people. Like we should have more of a role in our democracy. And if we're saying, okay,
Well, yeah,
70% support
anarchist.
for abortion rights, 70% for abortion rights, we have to have them. You guys,
Yeah.
you guys are literally
like
just the pen. You're the people who hold the pen.
Yeah, if
you're
the
nothing
people
more. This is my opinion.
are in agreement and it's not happening, it means you're not doing your job.
Yeah, you have to get it done. That's the rules, because that's what this is not about you, Mitch McConnell. I don't give a fuck about your stupid ass opinion. You're supposed to just like craft the legislation, like literally write or type or have your aides do it or whatever because you're too busy having a stroke. Like that's
You
that's
and
what
John
you're there for.
Fetterman are going to a Stroke
Yeah.
9 concert together, listening to Little Black Backpack. I don't know where to go with the stroke joke, but stroke joke rhymes.
Yeah, I'm only gonna joke about Mitch McConnell's stroke, but
No, I'll talk all day about John Fetterman and his stupid ass. Jesus Christ.
Well, Mitch McConnell is
We
the
won't go into
architect of all of. Okay. I'm talking about American politics specifically. Mitch McConnell not representing
Yes.
his own constituents and killing, people with uteruses all across the United States. Directly can pretty much pinpoint it to Mitch McConnell. A lot of it, this architect of the Supreme Court and all that kind of stuff.
You'd think he would relate more with that pussy in his neck. Like, you'd think that he'd have some sort of empathy. Every morning he'd look in the mirror and be like, oh, what about my vagina feels
What if I could have a
today?"
baby out of this?
I think I already had the baby out of my neck. That's how he talks. Friend of the
I just
show,
feel like-
Mitch McConnell. That was him. Bye. Bye, Mitch.
We call him, little bitch McConnell. He
Bitch
loves it when we
McConnell.
call him that. I just feel like they should have to listen to us more and we just shouldn't have to rely so much on their stupid opinions on things. Like literally, like they should be in some way, and you can say elections hold people accountable. They don't. Because of our system, the two-party system and all that.
That's literally
so why
never
not do
been
more
proven
polling?
to be true.
Yeah, so it's like, shut up if that's your argument. You're wrong. But
I got an
it's like,
email
so
from
why
Al
can't-
Franken yesterday.
about pooping and crying.
I don't think anything holds anybody accountable for nothing.
Yeah, I just feel like, why can't we have more of like a voice in our democracy with the technology that's out there, with the polling data that's out there? Like, why isn't it that it's like, okay, like abortion, it is the best example because it's literally behind what is always number one, like the economy. It's the most important topic to people. After the midterms, it was like the defining thing about it.
Yeah.
Reproductive
Because
rights.
it's that important and it's more straightforward than the economy. People, even
For
when
sure.
they learn a lot about it, you still don't know. Everyone's an idiot when it comes to the economy, especially
I don't
economists.
know. Yeah. especially us, I think.
Well,
But,
I'm an economist, so I would know.
Yeah. I just feel like if something has like universal background checks, it's anywhere from like 75 to 85% support in the United States. It is incredibly strongly supported. Why is it not done?
Thanks a lot, Puritans.
I don't know.
Like, why can't that be something? If there's something like that, something number one cause of death for people under the age of 19, rise in maternal mortality rates because of abortions, blah, blah, blah. Things that are like legitimately like straight up directly killing people that you can point to. Gun violence, if we did this, it would reduce it. Maternal mortality, if we made these services available, it would reduce this. Like, those things
Even
that are
abortion,
like,
too, where it's just like, even if you're pro-life and stuff, do you want to reduce abortion? Make abortion more accessible. That will reduce abortions. Make
and you know what,
contraceptives more available. Expand
And
sexual
with abortions,
education. All these things
you will-
literally proven.
you will never, ever be able to have 0 abortions.
Yeah.
Ever. 25% of all people with uteruses, this is like a global number, 25% of all people with uteruses will need abortion services at some point in their lifetime.
And that's how it's
one
been
in 4
for
people.
hundreds of years.
That is what it is. You talk to an OBGYN, they're like, it happens often. Like, this is something that just happens. It needs to be done. It's just what happens sometimes. And especially,
Ben
man, I was
Franklin
just
wrote
thinking
instructions for it.
I just want these
And he
this talk-
only had one abortion.
these
If that's what
These
you would
motherfuckers-
call his haircut.
say the Declaration of Independence. But I just really also the whole thing with abortions, obviously, man, these cruel, heartless motherfuckers, like that smug guy. I don't know if you watched the newest John Oliver about it. Oh my God, the smuggest motherfucking face I've ever seen. It's like, all right, look a 12-year-old rape victim in the eyes, and she says she's pregnant, and you say, get over it, have your baby. That's what you're doing. I hope you know that, guys.
Yeah.
I hope you know that. This little girl's being raped. Women, man, some of these stories, women saying their doctors are like, your baby,
I was
like,
just-
will suffocate. There is no way. This is not, it's not viable. Like, there is no way he's going to survive. Like, it's really, really sad. Like, he will suffocate to death. But she could not get an abortion.
Yeah.
And she was able to get over to New Mexico to get an abortion. The only options for her in Texas were to wait until literally it was so life-threatening that she would die
Well, that was
if she didn't get
John
it.
Oliver. Is what
And-
you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah, I did hear that. Yeah.
And it's not
like an
and that's
8-hour
for a
drive from
non-
anywhere outside of the state.
She had to almost, if she couldn't do that, she would have had to almost die for a non-viable pregnancy
Yeah.
to be. And she's like, so how is this helping? So you're just going to let my baby suffocate to death?
And almost kill me.
That's what you're going to do? Who is this helping?
Yeah.
How is this?
They think it's
I
helping
mean,
God or some bullshit like that. And that's just like,
God's a sick
And that was
motherfucker.
just this last week on John Oliver. And just today, I was watching registered trademark. No, an old 10-month-old Pethan video with Ethan is online responding to PragerU. Just typical content that I consume. And someone had left a comment because he's talking about, he just laughed at the idea from the person on PragerU saying, oh, well, conservatives, they care about the baby and they do have compassion for the mother. And he's like, no, you don't. Like, you literally just don't. Otherwise, there wouldn't be states with no exceptions. And someone had left a comment. They said, my cousin lived in a no-exception state. She was forced to carry her unviable baby to term rather than abort it during the second trimester. The baby was dead and would never be able to be alive outside the womb. But since it was technically still alive and feeding off her, they forced her to keep it. She nearly died in the process, and the trauma of birthing it caused her so much trauma and pain that she killed herself. But yeah, they
Oh
definitely
my
have compassion for
fucking
mothers.
God.
Yeah. And it's like, and that happens. This is a result of your legislation. This is a result of you deciding not to vote on issues like this. Like, if enough people participate, like you're saying, people are generally on the right side of this. The people,
Which is on the left.
yes, exactly. I mean, even in red states and stuff, once you actually, it's just like how, I mean, even taking people as being stupid cattle, which is a way that you can see it, it's like all it takes is the right wording, and people in their hearts, like at the core of it, are more empathetic and progressive than their representation in government would have you believe. It's just like how they'd go and they would poll people asking them, are you in favor of this blank medical or healthcare program? And they listed what the ACA did, and people overwhelmingly said, yes, that sounds good. They polled with different wording, and they called it Obamacare, or they said President Obama has this lined up for the American the whatever CARE Act. What was that called? But
The American Health Care Act or something?
like that. But and overwhelmingly, people weren't supporting it. Like, it's just, even if you have to cynically, condescendingly, whatever, look at how the American voting public is, when you get down to it, like you're saying, we have more sense of community and compassion than how we're represented. It's just, we're dumb.
Yeah.
It's just, we're dumb. You just have to get out there and be
ignorant.
part of the process, and things would be at least marginally better in many different aspects of day-to-day life. I mean, George Carlin said, imagine how stupid the average person is, and then realize half of all people are stupider than that. That's math.
They're ignorant.
No,
not
just in
stupid.
general. That's how IQ works. No,
No, there's a lot of different kinds of intelligence, but yeah, I know.
there's not.
This
It
is
is-
propaganda.
That is, I know. It's like if you told people, it's like, would you support a law that, when enacting it, it will cause a rise in maternal mortality rates?
Yeah.
Would you support that? It's 18% for white women. It's 31% for women of color, and that is what will happen. Would you support that? No. Not a single person would do that. I don't think
Yeah.
there's a single person who would
Well,
say,
there's a
yeah, no,
single
I
when
definitely
you
want
say
more.
more people of color will die. There's
Yeah,
a few
for
people
sure.
out there that'll say yes.
Sure, but they're not like, those aren't like people.
Yeah.
Those are those people that just need to be cared
Yeah,
for.
I was gonna say,
in a
we still want them to have
facility.
health care,
Yes, for sure. But yeah, because you know what? Told this to Kelsey. I don't know if I mentioned this on the last podcast, but it's been my say it. I'm like, if someone stubs their toe, anyone around goes, "Oh, ouch, ugh, oh, you hate to see it.
Yep.
You hate to see it," and that is
Unless it's Mitch McConnell stubbing their toe.
well, that's again, that's not a person, so much
Yeah.
as
I mean, it's a human, but it's not
it's
a
a-
person.
yeah, I would
like
say
a
that's
fetus.
more so. Like, yeah,
It's just an old fetus.
we just really do. We do care about each other. We are affected, and we do care. When it's just proved my point, and that is so. Man, that is such a sad fucking story. Mm-hmm. That you
It
just
sure
that
is.
comment that is, and I really can't imagine. I really admire these people a lot when they come out and go onto news shows and talk about some of probably the worst moment or one of them at least, of their entire lives. Incredibly
And you only live
traumatic.
so long.
I've seen, you know, I used to work at a vet clinic, and one time there was this kitten came in the morning, and it had been really sick the night before when it was brought in, coming in there, and I'm like the first person, and it was dying. It was dying in my hand. It was this tiny little, it was probably like 5 weeks old, a little kitten gasping for air, like just like,
Aw.
it was so,
things,
it was
it's a
so
kitten.
sad to see. Oh my God, it was so hard to see, and it was like, yeah, you know, should have maybe done it yesterday or something, but trying to help it and all this kind of stuff. Obviously, you're not just going to jump to like euthanizing an animal. You're trying to help. and
Yeah,
everything.
you're not writing
It was really,
for Slate.com or whatever.
yeah, it was.
It's not a beagle.
It's
I don't know. We'll get that
was
reference,
really-
but
really sad to see, and I cannot imagine the pain a mother would feel if that's what she had to go through, give birth to a baby that's going to suffocate to death. That's your baby, and you have to be there, and you have to give birth to it. And how obviously giving birth to a stillborn, oh my gosh, we know someone whose mom
just gonna
did that,
say-
and it was
I
very,
know
very, very
someone who went through
traumatizing.
it twice, and they're both buried in her backyard. Because it's like, and she couldn't
Yeah.
get over it for weeks and weeks. And
Some
she has
people
like,
who don't like do
5
the
kids.
trauma work through, you know, they never get over it because it's, oh my God, that's like something that's that's so horrible to have to, you know, these people, a lot of these people who need abortions are people who want to have their babies. They planned on this baby. They got pregnant on purpose. They want a child, another child. They want their first child or whatever. And then something happens and they can't. And it's something that happens. It's this horrible thing. The doctor has to come and tell them, you know, I'm so sorry. This is what's going to happen. It's like congenital things. You know, this is just, you know, this is what happens with pregnancies. It happens a lot. There's a lot of times at pregnancies, and it could be, and it's like, yeah, and then you have to go through it, but it could be like a thing early on in your pregnancy. It can be a lot easier on your body, a lot easier on your mental health, obviously, than having to give birth to your own dead baby or to a baby that's going to literally die in your arms.
Yeah.
And
Guaranteed.
because the government made you do it.
yeah.
That's fucking disgusting.
Because an overrepresented minority feel like it should be that way. And only because they have the combination of the lack of empathy in the first place and no personal experience with that. All of these people that's just
Even
the
with
way
the neck
that they
pussy,
are.
Mitch McConnell.
Yeah, it's just because it hasn't happened to them. I mean, just some people just don't have the empathy, and all it takes is for something to actually happen to them personally, and well, they change their mind. That's what it's like for a person that has little empathy, and that happened with like that Idaho legislator that was like, "Well, I didn't realize." I mean, he got mentioned
It's
on
like
that
part of
John Oliver thing,
obstetrics.
but
Yeah.
afterwards. Or maybe it was a different guy. It might have been that Idaho guy or that guy who's like, I wanted to take my vote back because then it happened to his like daughter's friend or something like that, where it's like suddenly and they needed an abortion and he realized how restrictive it all was and she almost died and all this stuff. And it's like, yeah, dingus. Like, why
That's
does
why
it
people are
take
protesting,
that to
you
change your
fucking
mind?
moron.
Like, I guess you won't listen to us. You just won't listen.
There is where I could find a line between ignorance and stupidity. That's what I find to be stupid. I don't think that, you know, it's smart just because you are successful if you're doing something. If it's hurting other people, lacking empathy or compassion or whatever, that to me
Is true
seems
stupidity.
stupid. Because it hurts other people. And you know what? You don't even want that, you fucking moron.
Yeah.
You want your daughter to die because she couldn't get an abortion? No. You want someone else's daughter to die? No. You idiot. Then what are you doing? That's stupidity. Like,
Yeah.
unable to see outside of your
It's
own
like Dick Cheney crusading against gay marriage and stuff, and then suddenly his daughter's a lesbian, and then he softens his. Well, I guess I learned and I changed my position. Yeah, moron. Like,
Other
look at what
people
you
have
did
gay
to
children too,
thousands and thousands of other people, idiot. Yeah, that's yeah.
So thoughtful. So thoughtful.
So that's oh, there we
That was
go.
a really nice one. Thanks, Inane Blather.
Okay.
Thanks. Yeah. So
You know
all
what's
of that,
funny?
all that worked upness, it's a success. Let's remember when put
Yeah,
to the
I was
people.
gonna say, remember how you
we
started
come
off
out,
saying that we're gonna
yeah.
start off positive. We'll see where it goes.
It is success. They enshrined it in their state constitution. Washington does not have that.
Yeah.
It's like Oregon, maybe like New Jersey, somewhere else. There's only a couple states that have
American
that.
Samoa.
You know who?
That's
yeah,
a state,
some
right?
bullshit like that. Yeah. Washington D.C.
Oh,
No.
ew.
No, like, you know, and you know what? Another thing, you know what? On this whole abortion thing, what the fuck are we doing as Americans? Like, what are other countries doing? What are other countries are like giving more rights? And like the only other countries that would
A
take
lot
away
of
rights are
countries
like
are
ones.
behind us, though, on stuff like that. Religion is a scourge. Religion's terrible, and it becomes involved in day-to-day politics. Becomes involved in everything. I don't care how like authoritarian
going
or fascist.
backwards?
It's like my most weirdly reactionary take always. It's like once religion gets rid of it, it's like, I mean, I want everyone to be able to do what they want and stuff. It's like, but it really is a problem. It's like you'd be better off without your religion. Everyone
It's
would.
a problem
and it's like
in your governing
Yes.
for sure. That's that's like fucking what is Mike Johnson, this new Speaker of the House, is like
I don't understand why it isn't
theocrat.
empowering for people to be. It's like, oh, but if someone's religion makes them a better person, they have these reasons and stuff. Like, why isn't it empowering for you to do that for yourself? To feel like I do the right thing for people because it's the right thing to do. But anyway. No, but
well,
yeah,
you know what I got
religion being
told
part
from
of
one of our
like,
parents
countries
is
that
like,
are
oh,
older
well,
than
you're
ours.
different than other people, and I'm like, I don't think so. I think that people do the right thing, and it's like pretty much like I just got told that I'm an idealist, that people need like someone watching over them, and I'm like, I just
Yeah.
don't. I don't think that that's
That
true.
sounds like projection. You're a little defensive.
Hey, you said it.
No,
That's
no,
what I would
that's
say.
just from being propagandized by fear always. Like in so
Well, if you
many
grow up
arenas.
Southern Baptist.
Yeah,
There's some fear there.
And grow up through the Cold War. Grow up through in America. Like you're generally going to think that other people are not good. I mean, it's hard to prove otherwise, you know? And you've been told pretty much through a variety of different apparatuses, whatever, apparati, you know, that you should be scared and other people are out to get you. Whether it's stuff on the local news and teenagers and change in general, or whether it's terrorists on the other side of the country or other side of the world, you know, I mean, or the Russians and nuclear war and all that. It's like, I mean, you got to do what you got to do for yourself. All these other people, I mean, in those people's minds, all those other people, yeah, if it weren't for, you know, the rules and people looking over them, they'd be going crazy. They'd be murdering everyone. You know, it's like, not me, but all those other people. It's like, yeah, that's what you've been. That's what's been pounded into your head since you were in kindergarten. But, you know, it's funny. I opened up Twitter and just went to the search to see what was trending. And at least for me, we're talking about like election day and stuff like that. And so 2 out of the first 3 things is trending in political figures. Rigged. And then politics trending cheating. And then let's see, Fetterman, Ilhan Omar, Roe v. Wade trending with Hannity. And also trending, oh, that's only 3,700 posts, CNN and MSNBC. But yeah, let's see, what do they think is rigged on today? Let's see. Oh my gosh, some liberal. Oh, here we go. Well, here's one where it says rigged because they're saying, amazing on a night like tonight, nothing but crickets, no one screaming it was rigged or votes were stolen. Votes were stolen is what he wrote. No angry loser spreading lies about a well-run vote count across several states. Yeah, it's an off year, fucking idiot. What are you expecting? Let's see. Oh, let's see. Breaking. Here's some idiotic account. Oh, God. Yeah, anti-woke. I've seen this guy before. Voting machines in Pennsylvania shut down after getting caught flipping votes. Democrats run the state and will cheat in any way possible. What are you talking about, Brait? You just posted a screenshot of some bullshit from a website that you don't even... Oh, no, and have a link to the Gateway Pundit. Get rid of these damn rigged machines. Okay, I agree. Yeah, paper ballots for everyone.
If there are any.
Paper ballots for everyone.
They're called
Early
mail-in.
voting,
Yeah.
mail-in. Sounds good.
I just don't get why we can't do more early voting too. Why can't it be like the entire month of
Because
November?
you're talking
that you
about
can vote?
Ohio. That's what, yep. Ohio is not a red state, it's a rigged state. And I'm seeing this exact same thing written over and over again in the same way because all these people are such independent thinkers. But Tucker Carlson...
They just all happen to come up with the same idea.
Oh, I think Tucker Carlson is still talking about the 2020 election. Good God. Good God. You know what's funny, though? Like, and I got my ballot a while ago and stuff, and then I filled it out yesterday, and then I forgot to turn it in yesterday and turn it in this morning, and pulled up to the ballot box on my way to work with someone right behind me who pulled in next to me. This lady, she's super nice. I've talked to her before. We live in a small town. And a guy pulled in right after her, and we all dropped off our ballots, and it was like, hey, she was like, gotta do our civic duty. I was like, I know, right? I was like, it's funny, we gotta wait till the last minute, even though I already had this filled out. She said, me too. But it's like everyone smiled and dropped off their ballots, and we don't get an I voted sticker here in Washington, unfortunately, but
We just do it because it's the right thing to do. Because we're better than other
you know what
states.
pissed me off? You know what? No, it didn't really piss me off, but I got an email from from the company I buy Kratom from, and they had a thing going. They're like, make sure you get out the vote, and hey, post or snap a selfie of you with your I voted sticker and enter in our sweepstakes, and also get a coupon. I was like, what the. Man, I fucking voted. I don't get a sticker. I mean, you have to order some online so I can enter this Kratom contest.
Yeah, can I send you a picture of my ballot?
Yeah, with my name and all that on there. Then I don't have to fill any of this out. And then suddenly it's like,
Someone else will just do it for
Washington
me, yeah.
election rigged. Kratom required at elementary schools. Yeah.
That's funny
And I'm just
that
like,
you saw
Thanks a
some
lot,
people.
Puritans.
Actually, he's kind of a neighbor. He stopped by one time when maybe Kelsey and I were just out front. We were just kind of chatting with him. And I work from home now. He stopped by. We talked for a while. He was going to drop off his ballot, and he was asking if we needed ours dropped off too, like if it was already done.
Yeah.
Like to just go drop it off. It's like right down the street. Yeah, you can. It's just dropping it in the mailbox.
Can't do that. It's against the law. Sound like a Biden
Yeah.
voter. Cheater.
Catch me.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it's like in this sealed envelope with like a
Yeah.
security thing and a signature
You know
on
who
it and all
says
this
stuff
stuff.
like
It's already
that?
filled
The
out.
same people who are okay with like standing 30 feet from a ballot box with a machine gun, just protecting everyone. Fuck you.
I was like, I thought it was really nice. He's like, let me drop this off for you just to make sure. He's like, I know we're, it's kind of hit and miss where I live. Like there's some people like me, real like pretty progressive people, and then there's like a bunch of
It's a smaller
Biden flags
town,
and stuff. Yeah, but it's like it's really pretty mixed, I would say. And so, anyways, it was just cool that he stopped by and we're just talking about, that, and just that he was like voting.
And this
it
wasn't
was, like,
the,
thinking about
the
us
guy
and,
from
like,
down the street that you talked to while you were canvassing.
No, but I did talk about him. I did talk about him, about how I was like, oh, I walked around this neighborhood. He's like, oh, that's cool. It's like, how was it? I was like, most people were really cool except for that motherfucker right over there. I swear that there. I don't think anyone lives there though. I think he's a landlord because it's just the way that it looks. But I keep an eye out for him. I keep an eye out. I know what his truck looks like.
Dang,
so
you should have
I'm gonna
TP'd his
go out
house
there.
on Halloween, so then you could blame some
I know. I
teenagers.
asked one of my partners, like, should we egg his house?
You're like,
And
I'm in
they're a
my
bigger
30s
person
and
than
I've
me,
never
so they're
done
like-
it. Now I have an excuse to. No.
Yeah. What, like he doesn't deserve it? He deserves it. I'm sure that there's things that he's done in his life. The way he talked to me, I'm like, this is not a good person.
Yeah.
So
No, everyone's
And
a good
I-
person. Except
Well,
for Joe
you didn't meet
Biden.
him.
That's ours.
bitch McConnell.
He's just, constantly saying
The N-word.
and going on.
Oh, I bet this guy has said the N-word before. He gives real unwoke, to say the least, vibes.
Yeah. If not anti-woke. Man.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. Literally telling an activist, calling out to them, you're not doing anything with your life, you're pathetic or whatever. It's like,
Oh my
wow,
God.
man. What a
And you're
loser.
just like,
Suck my dick, idiot.
yeah, if only.
Pretty much. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't very nice. but
love Karl Marx.
That's what.
That's what I
yes,
should have said.
Exactly. And he's just like,
Okay, Natalie. Fucking stupid F-word bitch.
I'm like, that's right.
yeah, that's right. Okay. Anyway, this is petering out.
Bye.
Yeah. Shout out to our Lord and Savior, Aaron Brown. Shout out to Emily. Mm-hmm. Hope you're still listening.
Zach,
Andy, Kelsey,
Ryan.
everybody. Discontent provider.
Everybody.
I
Venida,
appreciate the
Annabella.
discontent provider listening, and they always retweet and reply when I post the episode, so I like it.
That's really, really nice. Thank you so much. You know, when people say about the podcast, I'm like, it's not really a podcast. It's just me and my brother having a conversation. So
Yeah.
don't expect much.
What is this? Just a couple guys
this-
having a conversation? Who the hell wants to listen to that?
No.
And I was like,
So forget about it, cuz.
so. Okay, I love you.
Okay, I love you.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.